High ticket closers that are making between $5,000 and $10,000 in commission that are looking to take their numbers up to the $20,000 to $30,000 a month mark. You have no excuse not to watch this video in its entirety, especially if you clicked on it in the first place to improve your sales skills. If you're not familiar with myself, my name's Ethan. I went from having no prior sales experience to making over $30,000 a month in commission as a high ticket closer, and I've cash collected over $56,062 in a single day. So grab a pen and paper, take some notes, and I promise you, if you begin to implement some of these advanced sales techniques, you'll break through every sales plateau that you've ran into up to now and finally get to the commission you deserve. Let's jump into the call review.
Is that a real background or?
Is that a real? No.
No, it's a green screen.
Just take.
It's a green screen for sure. So this is very nuanced and this is relatively nitpicky. However, I am actually quite a firm believer of this. Never use a green screen background and never censor your background on Zoom. Because subconsciously, what is that telling the other person? It is telling them that even before you have opened your mouth, you have something to hide. AKA, there is something going on in real life behind you that you are having to hide. Do you have dirty washing on the bed? Are you in an abandoned warehouse taking your call? They don't know because you have a green screen on. So sack that off immediately. Get yourself a nice, real, professional background, or just set yourself up with a blank wall behind you. That would be better than a green screen. Just a blank wall. Simple.
I was taking my son to play golf with his friend, so I couldn't play. So I've just been walking around with them. We got stuck because they were kids. We got behind someone, and it was like they were playing faster than the people in front of them. The problem is when kids are going slow, they stop hitting around.
Yeah, when you said it was running late on the, I think like it was a golf term, you know what I mean, like slow play. So I didn't know if you played yourself. But...
Yeah. Through and through, Scouser.
Are you with your wife this evening, Gareth? Or?
She's downstairs, but she's just trying to get Harry to sleep. I think of the two, I'm interested more in the, because I kind of think I'm almost at the. Well, I mean, I think I could probably do the 10K. I'm getting there, but I think this, for me, it's more the system.
So he already knows the price. What's the offer? He actually hasn't given me offer context. Let me just double check. I don't believe he has. Offer context. No, he hasn't given me offer context.
You can see in the Fathom notes, I think it's something to do with online tutoring.
Done monthly revenue by someone capacity bottlenecks. Hold on. You probably saw that, but I can't see it for some reason. Let me pull it back up. Where are we seeing that? Tutor.
Yeah, scale is tutoring business, meeting purpose.
Okay, yeah, scale is tutoring business. Right, okay. And he already knows the price. So unsure, has he been triaged? Does he know the price? We'll just have to work off the context we have.
Systems are probably getting to that extra sort of 40K a month.
However, his language said something otherwise.
I'm interested more in the, because I kind of think I'm almost at the. Well, I mean, I think I could probably do the 10K. I'm getting there, but I think this, for me, it's more the systems are probably getting to that extra sort of 40K a month, I think.
I kind of think almost. Yep, you do not fucking have any level of certainty behind that, so we've got nothing from that statement.
So obviously you're about 9 or 10 now, and from our previous conversation, you were looking at a quarter of $1 million a year, which is basically like doubling up from 9 to 20.
So they've had a prior conversation. Got it.
20.
Yeah.
So are you looking at the package with the 10K guarantee or the 40K guarantee?
I think it's a tricky one, really. I'm still I had a meeting with the marketing autopilots. They are more just a company that they're not there. They're just like a service company that help you set up a WhatsApp API within your business. So as much as they'll help you with Go High Level and whatever it is you're working with, and they are quite high up in Go High Level, understand how to do it. It's not like they're not they're giving you another utility that I could use.
Yeah,
so that's what they're doing. They're not adding. It's not like the experience of they've got experience in a field and they've got lots of different things. But yeah, I've still got that mindset of worrying about spending money on stuff, even though I've spent money to go into I think that is my honest. If I'm being honest, I'm just like,
I respect the honesty. I'm only surprised because you're making good money already. You know, I'd usually
So let's see where you go. Let's see if you question it.
expect to hear that from someone else never made 10K before. You know.
I know it.
No. Okay. I actually don't mind. I respect the honesty. Actually, I immediately retract my statement there because why would I respect somebody for being honest when that should actually be the bare minimum for everyone? Like, given the fact he's just said, if I'm being honest, that would imply there are times at which he isn't honest. Why is that the case? You should effectively be honest in your life at all times if we're trying to be moral, forthcoming people. So I wouldn't say I respect the honesty. I would say, well, look, it's commendable for you to admit that. But this worry, where's that actually coming from? We're going to go straight into unpacking that because there's the objection. We've just got it 2 minutes in, and that's the reason as to why he went away to think about it or said he was going to pay, and then now he's ghosted you. So we'll see how we unpack this worry, if we do or not.
But the thing, I was listening to something the other night, and it was because I was listening to podcasts on mindset, and it was someone who is now making 7-8 figures a year profit.
What's his name?
He's a comedian.
Oh yeah.
What's his name? It's what someone like. He's quite a famous comedian. He's not. He's like, you know, he does like you'll see him on like Comedy Plus and whatever else. He's someone I recognise, and I recognise his voice. But he's talking about it. He's like, I still feel like when my kids ask for stuff, I'm still like, oh, you know, we can't afford that.
Yeah.
And then it followed up. The guy was interviewing him was saying how like when you're 6 and your parents say, oh, we can't afford that, or they say instead of, and it said what you should say is, how do you think we could afford that?
Yeah.
And
were your parents the same? Boom. He's just fed us like such an open identity question that we can ask here to get onto like a very deep level. And this seems like more of a B2B sale as well. Like if this is quite a high ticket price, it's about him tutoring it, like his tutoring business. He's already making XYZ money that it sounded like Chris just clarified. And he's bringing in like a money mindset, an identity, as Ollie's put in the chat. If anybody has not read Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, purchase the book immediately. That would be my recommendation to Chris if you haven't read it either, because that is literally what this guy is talking about. That's what that book is around. Money mindset.
I do just feel quite. I think there's a definite fear. I feel scared, and it's like, and it's almost like I want to make a move, and my brain's telling me make a move, but my heart's going, don't do it. It's like
that's cognitive dissonance. If you're familiar with what that is as a term, it's
we don't need to lecture him on what it is. We need to uncover where it's coming from. Because explaining to him what the process actually is doesn't help him as an individual. Because I can explain that to all of you on this call right now. I can explain that to anybody. But is that personal to any of you guys in the slightest? No. So we need to make the conversation about him, his lived experience, his thought process, his identity.
It's like the guy who's overweight and he knows he should eat the salad, but he's going to go for the hamburger, you know, because he can always do it tomorrow. And it's that back and forward level in your head. That's basically what it is.
So see, we've told him what it is, and he's just going to acknowledge, yeah, that's what it is.
I suppose the good thing for you though, Gareth, compared to majority of the people I speak to, they're barely producing any revenue, and
it's not a good thing for him though, because his revenue is irregardless of the fact that he still clings onto a belief system that is holding him back from stepping into the shoes of becoming the man he wants to be and really running the business that he wants to have.
It's not realistic for them to kind of see vision, but you're already at the point where you're doing decent.
Realistic to see the vision. It's not even a case of determining what's realistic for this guy, because he's just openly admitted that fear is holding him back and clinging onto his shoulder. If we don't address that and overcome it, he's never going to be able to get to his goals. Ollie?
I was just going to say, I love like psychoanalyzing people, but he's so disinterested right now while he's telling this. Like his body language, like even look at him on the freeze frame there.
Yep, he's just looking up at the sky.
He's thinking, when can I talk about myself again?
Yep. And what would be the reason behind that?
Because, well, he's just telling him, isn't he? He's not asking quite like you said there. You need to find out where that fear's come from, and we don't have any context yet on what that identity is essentially, like where his fear of money's coming from, worrying about money. Yeah, we need context.
Exactly that. Because telling is what, Tom?
Not selling.
Exactly. Telling technically is selling, but yeah, it's not selling in our context. Because the moment you begin speaking at someone, lecturing someone, making statements toward them, that's your words, not theirs. And they don't care about your words. They really don't. Their words are 1,000 times more powerful than yours.
Numbers, you just bottlenecked to kind of get.
And then the other thing, the other voice in my head as well, which is strange because they're like, and the pair of them together don't make any sense. But the other one is,
wow, he's begging you for help. That's what this guy's doing. He's actually begging you to help him here.
saying, why would you pay someone you can do it yourself?
Boom.
And I get that, and it's almost like that mentality of we could get someone in to do the bathroom and it'll cost $8,000, or I could put the bathroom in myself and you're going to take 10 weeks. It's going to be an absolute shit show, and you're not going to be able to hook the toilet up.
No, I'm well aware. I just want to show you something if you don't mind.
You're well aware. Well aware of first, I'm well aware of what. I'm not sure how that makes sense contextually. But secondly, we need to unpack that objection. He's just brought a second objection into the picture. So he not only has fear, but he now also has the thought pattern and process of why would he pay for something when he could do it himself. Now, there's two avenues we could go down here. The first avenue would be to just flip it back on him. So I would say, well, in that regard, I suppose, I mean, there are times where we can all have that thought process. But for yourself, what actually was it that brought you on the call with myself and has made you seek out advanced help and guidance? Why not just go and do it yourself? We're going to play devil's advocate. We're actually going to argue for the ulterior side. We're going to argue for him to do it by himself and then have him argue as to why he should get help and to why he has sought help. Because the moment you do that with somebody, they then begin to buy into the ideology that they should do it because they're actually arguing for it with you. So that's like a subtle, it's not necessarily subtle, but there are times where people don't actually pick up on the fact that's what you're doing. It's, what is it, covert influence as the buzzword for it. Scorpius?
You said you almost make them argue with their ulterior self. How would you then reframe him and make him realize how he has to change?
So in this context, do you mean if we go with that option that I mentioned there, I then have him argue for the reason as to why he got on the call in the first place and he is looking for help? I would then gain clarity on the other voice. I would say, and that voice that is whispering in your ear that you should go about this by yourself and continue doing it that way. What would you say some of the arguments for that are? Now he's going to explain, well, save money for a start, save XYZ amount, wouldn't I? Obviously, it's going to take me a bit longer. And I'd say, okay, it more so then comes down to what you value more in life. Like, would you say you value money or time more for yourself? No matter what you say, if you say money, which is absurd, I'm then always just going to flip it on them with that reframe I use. And I'd say, okay, I mean, do you mind if I challenge you on that? Yeah. Or with this guy, I'd go, do you mind, Gareth, if I just chat to you as if we were brothers here and just be straight? He's like, yeah, sure, buddy. Like, say what you want. I'd go, well, let's look at it this way. I mean, if I were to offer you a check for, heck, let's say £1 billion, right? Much money as you could ever spend for the rest of your life, and you could give it back to your entire family. But after you've taken it, you only have the next 24 hours to live. Would you take that billion? No. So technically, would you say that the next 24 hours are worth more than £1 billion for yourself? Yeah. So on a genuine level, what would you say you actually value more? Is it money, or is it the time that you have on this earth? The time that you get to spend with your loved ones and the people you care for? Time. So putting it plainly, what do you feel will actually enable you to move the business forward? Being the entrepreneur and the business owner that continues to cling onto money and sacrifice more and more of his time? Or the man who actually acknowledges how valuable his time really is and utilizes the money he earns as a tool to facilitate the progression of his business and move it quicker and closer to the success that we spoke about last time and the success you deserve? That's what I'd say. That makes sense to everyone? Spot on.
Could you just look at this?
Because what we've done is panic pitched, everyone. We have a panic pitch. This is a classic case of a panic pitch when we think, man, I don't necessarily know how to reframe. I don't necessarily know how to gain further depth in this conversation. Oh, that would be difficult. So I'm just going to pitch this dude. And there's less than a 0% chance he pays because I've pitched him. But this dude is in no position to be pitched right now. Like, not even remotely close. I wouldn't pitch this guy based on my morals, let alone whether I think he's going to pay or not. Because he has not shown me any characteristics or attributes of an entrepreneur or business owner that is actually going to set themselves up with the highest probability chance of success once I've onboarded him into the program.
So basically, let me just go to the next page, yeah.
Look at him. He's like fucking looking at, what is this? He's like, where are we going here? This man is now thinking, I just genuinely opened up and I was very vulnerable with this other guy that I'm sat across from. I just told him I was scared. I genuinely just told this other man that I was scared and that I've got a very negative money mindset toward my business. And I have these voices that I'm battling and I'm contending with. And we have just brushed him to the side. This guy isn't feeling seen, and he's definitely not feeling heard right now.
So you're currently at around 9K a month in terms of revenue.
We're just going to, let's see where this goes, but it seems as though we are now just lecturing this guy on logistics. We'll see.
Yeah, so I just did my year end, and we've just come, so we, in total in 10 months, we've done 93,000.
Okay, so 9K is accurate, and you want to get to 20. Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously, in terms of progress, there's a gap of 11K that we need to make up. Okay. Now, when we talk about the bottlenecks, I was going through this before, but as I remember, you were good at like the closing. You've obviously got a good offer, the leads are booking in. It was more a case of like you were at capacity in terms of you need to hire tutors, but more importantly, you need like systemization, so you're not physically having to do everything yourself.
Because the conversation we're having right now is just completely irrelevant. I can't stress this enough. This guy has brought into the conversation, the problem is that I'm scared. And the problem is that I still have a voice in my head telling me, why should I get help when I could do it myself? So in what way is this conversation we're now having resolving those two problems in any way, shape, or form? The only argument I can think of as to why we're perhaps doing this is that we believe we're now going to build up the value of our service to the point where it's indisputable that you should work with us rather than doing it yourself, because we're the best. That is old school sales. It does not work, especially when an individual still isn't embodying the identity they need to have or making decisions they need to make in order to make the use of this. It doesn't matter if you're selling the best thing in the world that effectively has 100% guarantee of results. If the other person doesn't feel as though they're capable of even beginning, starting.
And you can actually spend some more quality time away from the business and working, be with your family. So would that align with what your assessment is? Or
Yeah, it's the I've got some systems, and I actually see myself actively moving away from those systems. So this year, and this is the sort of scarcity mentality, I stopped people paying me
Boom! He's like, please help me. Scarcity mentality.
on Stripe, which was fully automated, and went to a pencil system to message them and tell them to save the 2.3% that Stripe charges. And I was like, in my head, I was just like, why am I doing this? And it's just, I still think I'm in my own way.
Help this brother out, as Ollie says.
So yeah, the capacity limitation, definitely.
if you just look at the week offer, it's not a week offer. Maybe there's like things you could change, but you're trading, you're doing good business, so we know it's not a week offer. Okay, when you're getting leads, we know they're good quality. Okay, and they seem to show up, and you seem to close them. So that's why I'm thinking it's all the capacity limitation, systemization, automation, and then also building out a little team. It doesn't have to be tutors; it could just be like a little closer or an admin lady or whatever. I was just wondering, have you? Oh, sorry. Are you got any numbers handy just in terms of like on a typical month? You know how many leads you get?
This is just all logistics. We'll see how long this takes, but I might skip a little bit forward. It depends how much of this is logistics.
I can't, like, what I did is I closed my full marketing, my full ad spend has been like one.
Logistics.
They all book a call.
Logistics. There's probably all logistics, this whole portion.
So just on these numbers, and obviously they're not super accurate. But this is great in terms of when you're working with us, because little tweaks here make an effect, in terms of all the numbers. So like for you, it's pretty much like a double. There's definitely ways we could maybe increase your prices. Okay, there's definitely ways you could get more people to show up. Your closing is pretty good, but the reality is you need more of your time back and you need help. All the tutors. And
I think the key is I think I could close more, and I actually don't mind the closing or having. I actually quite enjoy the sales calls. I don't try and sell. I'm like, look, I'm here to teach.
Natural.
Fancy it or don't fancy it, it's up to you. Like, here's the details. And then I usually cold turkey them like I did my wife. I just don't message them for 3 days, and then they're like, can we join? I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, well, that's obviously your way. It's working well. Stick with that. I guess
there's definitely better ways. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you mentioned earlier as well about potentially doing this yourself. Getting there eventually.
Here we go. Yes, we are now addressing the objection that came up like probably 5 minutes ago.
I just want to point this out because our goal is obviously to get you there in 3 months. Okay, and typically when people do this themselves, it takes them best part of a year.
What we are doing right now is once again just making statements at this man, Chris. That is what we are doing. The way in which we need to go about this is by genuinely unpacking where that belief system is coming from for himself, getting real clarity and context, and then enabling him to view things from a different perspective by potentially providing feedback. What I am never going to do, though, is to try and frame the argument as, well, if you were to go and do it yourself, it would likely on average take 24 months, whereas statistically based on our recent surveys, it would take you 3 to do it with us. Because number one, fair enough, if they've got a huge amount of trust built up and they actually believe everything you say, fair play. It clearly would be quicker to do it with yourself. But why does he have that voice in his head? We've got no idea. Is it because he's invested in the past into something and then it ended up biting him in the ass? So he thought, man, I'd have been better off doing it myself? Could be. Is it the fact he's never invested in himself before? He's never gotten advanced help. He's always done things by himself. Because when he was younger, his mum and dad didn't help him with his homework or ever play with him as a kid. So he had to entertain himself and always look after himself, take care of himself in life. So that's what he does now as an adult with his business. You see, there's so much absurd levels of context that we don't have.
So if we got you there in 3 months and you're getting yourself there in 12 months.
And he brought up way earlier in the conversation the money mentality that you heard from somebody else online about how when you're brought up and the money mindset that your parents have gets instilled down to yourself, vast majority of the time, the belief systems, the identity that we all hold comes from childhood. Goes without saying. The environment you're brought up in, the morals, the ethics that your parents have, your closest friends, the people around you, that is what forges you as a human being. Obviously, there's a level of nature, but there's a lot of nurture involved also.
In effect, you're leaving
Yeah,
almost
90
90K
on the table at least. Yeah.
Yeah, for the sake of a 7K, like cut the corner, get someone to do it for you, help you, rather than having that struggle. So that's the way we'd say this is a no-brainer of investment for you.
This is a no-brainer. That's what we'd tell you. Us, the guys selling it, we'd tell you that this is a no-brainer investment.
For me, the issue for me is,
Here we go.
on actual delivery on my end, I'm worried that I still find myself to be the weakest link. That's all.
How so though? How do you mean? I mean, you're good at closing, you obviously organise, you can teach. So
No, I know it's the organisation. I don't think I am organised.
Right.
I think that's it. And I think that when it comes to doing very mundane tasks, I get very bored very quickly. And I feel that is I've got my wife that helps me out, but
All right. In what way have we got that? In what way do we lack organisation then currently? I'm going to unpack it. Let's go. We need context.
if it's a mundane task where I've got to, when I'm thinking it, I'm spending a lot of thinking time, I think I waste time.
Yeah, I mean, that's one hell of a self-assessment. Most people would never say that about themselves just because of the ego, but you're humble enough to recognise that. That's brilliant. That's exactly what.
It's definitely not brilliant. That's for sure.
Faraz wants from people because he can help you. At the end of the day, realistically, what happened?
We have just not listened to a word this man has said again. We are not having a genuine human conversation here in any way. Like this man is bringing heartfelt points into the conversation, heartfelt limitations, and we're going, yeah, that's brilliant because that's exactly what we can fix. Yeah, it's fine. We can fix it. We don't have a clue about this individual.
I've got to, when I'm thinking it, I'm spending a lot of thinking time. I think I waste time.
Yeah.
Waste time. In what way is that coming up? He gives us some examples. Is this a way of thinking, a way of acting that you want to maintain? Do you feel it actually serves you in regard to growing this business and being the entrepreneur that you want to be? No. So, I mean, if we continue to tell ourselves that this is the case and that this is a problem with who we are, I mean, where are we going to end up? Much of the same. So, going forward, I mean, what do you feel would be in your best interest, and of course, the interest of your business, your family, the career itself, and where we want to go with this? Clinging on to the fact that that's who we are, that's the way we are, or taking necessary steps, putting necessary action in place to change. Boom, to change.
Yeah, I mean, that's one hell of a self-assessment. Most people would never say that about themselves just because of the ego, but you're humble enough to recognise that. That's brilliant. That's exactly what Faraz wants from people because he can help you. At the end of the day, realistically, what happens when we work with clients, Gareth?
How long has he struggled with this wasting time? Nice Ollie. There you go. Could go down that path as well, completely. How long has that been something you've struggled with, by the way? XYZ length of time. Could just Dickens pattern it. And really, I mean, when we look at it together, what do you think that's actually cost you to hold on to that? Hold on to that identity, that belief system. What will it continue to cost you? Will we ever be able to get to our goals if we don't overcome it? So in order for us to actually get to XYZ goal that we spoke about earlier, what's the very first thing that we need to work together to overcome? That completely debunked that objection that he's just brought into the conversation.
Is we want to diagnose the constraint, and in your case, we've got that, the systemization, the ability to scale via tutors. And what happens is when we work on that constraint and kind of unlock that revenue, you're going to fall into the next constraint. Whatever that may look like. So it might be now that you've got tutors, you've got clients, but do we need to increase your prices, or do we need to maybe?
I don't actually understand what's just happened. Hold on.
That constraint and kind of unlock that revenue.
Am I going mad?
Yeah, I mean, that's one hell of a self-assessment. Most people would never say that about themselves just because of the ego, but you're humble enough to recognise that. That's brilliant. That's exactly what Faraz wants from people because he can help you. You know, at the end of the day, realistically, what happens when we work with clients, Gareth, is we want to diagnose the constraints. In your case, we've got that, you know, systemization, the ability to scale via tutors. And what happens is when we work on that constraint and kind of unlock that revenue, you're going to fall into the next constraint.
Oh, this is just like this is arbitrary. Like it's almost like you're actually speaking to someone who's not even there. Like you've carried on with like the pitch, like genuinely carried on with the pitch, like verbatim, word for word, as if he didn't even just bring that into the conversation himself. And like I think he's gone on his phone.
You know, whatever that may look like. So it might be
Look
now
at
you've
him,
got tutors,
his
you've got
eyes
clients,
are darting
or,
down
you know,
at
do we need to
something
increase your
every
prices,
now
or
and then.
do we need to maybe hire a closer to take the calls for you because you need to
Body
put more time into
language
it more.
looks very.
Eventually, what it needs to be is like a fairly robust system where someone else is doing the sales, and they might not. And I think giving up that. I think the problem is I don't think I can do everything myself, but I think that I can do. I think if I do it myself, I'll do it the best. I know that's not true.
Here we go. He's just giving you part of the. Let's see where we go with this.
But that's the psychology behind it. So it's like, oh,
That's the psychology behind it. He's doing the psychoanalysis for you. He's actually doing the psychoanalysis for you. Where does that come from? Nice work, Ollie. Oh, you mentioned there that's the psychology. Like where do you feel that actually is coming from? That thought process that you're always going to be able to do it better than other people, or more so the fact that you don't actually want to give up that control, that ownership to somebody else in case they don't do it as well as you think you could. Because that's what it is. It's a fear. It's a fear of control. That's something that a lot of business owners struggle with, like just a whole in general. Because it's the fear that if I release this control, somebody else might do a worse job than me that'll then cost me more money. So I should just carry on doing everything myself because then I have control over it.
Well, and it's actually if someone else does it and they close at 50%, that's okay.
30% good in this industry. You know, and at the end of the day, like
He just said if somebody closes at 50%, that's okay. Why have you just said 30% is good in this industry?
80% of your time should be put into the money making activities, or at least the delivery of the service. And when we can solve the bottleneck of being able to get more clients on board, the next constraint is like keeping up with the
What we are doing here, and like everybody knows my personality at this point, so I don't think anybody's going to take offense from the reviews I do of these calls. We're just being a pitch bot. Like this is super robotic pitch bot. We're not unpacking anything. We're not uncovering anything. We're not actually getting any clarity. We're not reframing the actual psychology or the conceptualization behind his decision-making patterns.
the delivery of the service, you know, making sure your closers are selling, making sure your tutors are delivering the standard. You know, these are all problems that, I say problems, it's just part and parcel of the business, but this is what Faraz deals with day in, day out. You know, he's like you, as in, he can do everything himself, and I'm sure
And we're like, oh, look at us. We're so good. We're so good. This is what we deal with. Here's a free toaster. You know, we'll give you a free toaster with this. If you sign up on the call today, it's 20% off, but the price goes up by 20% if you don't do the on-call discount.
he feels he's the best at doing everything himself. He's got one pair of hands.
Yeah, and what experience? Because obviously one of the ways I was thinking of making there's two options: either get more people, or I sell a digital product.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the views on digital product and then almost fully automate it?
My view is, I guess it's negligible. It's more about Faraz's view, but I know Faraz does everything based on a return on investment. And just a little snippet, like apps or producing digital products are not always as advantageous as you might think in terms of return on investment. Okay, so it's the conversation point is for we built our own app, you see. And although it's brilliant and it aids us in what we do, it can also cause you more issues, you know, tech things and so forth. So it comes down to like specifically what you're looking to implement and build.
Okay.
Just a piece of, you know, have that discussion with Faraz. Because it's not about what he does well, it's about what he's done that's gone wrong in the past.
Yeah.
You know, and the learnings
I
from it.
think it's doing stuff and getting it wrong, and having somebody who's already done it to kind of reduce your time frame, which is what it's all about.
Yeah, well, physically, I don't know many people that spend 100 grand in ad spend just trial and error. You know, and like it's probably better than any marketing degree you can go and get at university. You know, physically putting stuff out.
You've got skin in the game as well, haven't you?
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, that's basically his forte. And I know there's a little bit of fear for you.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I know there's a little bit of fear for you. Okay, right? We're aware of the fear.
I am just feeling that fear,
Oh wow,
and that's I can tell it, and I can feel myself like it's like
wow.
I don't like making decisions.
Help
So-
this guy.
Yeah,
How come? Like, where is that actually coming from? That's all that needs to be asked.
Well, basically, in terms of like business owners, usually that's a key strength. You know, being decisive and able to make decisions, whether they're right or wrong, just being certain in your decision making. You know?
What's going on, man? We're now just lecturing him on this is the equivalent. What we are doing right now is the equivalent of you're working for Alcoholics Anonymous. You're working for a rehab clinic. This man has come to you and he's saying, man, like, I really want to stop this addiction. Like, this addiction's like, I know I need to change. I know it's not good for me. I need to change. And you're going, yeah, most people who don't smoke crack actually do better off. Yeah, if you don't smoke crack, it's way better for you to just not smoke it. So, yeah, and we're the best at stopping people from just not smoking crack. So maybe you should take it from us, because he used to smoke crack and he just doesn't smoke crack anymore. So it's not good for you. Definitely not good for you. That's what we're doing. We're just telling them what they already know. This guy knows it isn't good. That's why he's telling you. That's why he's asking for your help. That's why he's on the call in the first place. I'm going to run a couple more minutes just to see the next couple of things that get said here.
I classify that as another one of in my SWOT analysis I did of myself. That was a W.
Okay. Well, ultimately, then, again, like the first part of anything is recognizing it. You know, how do you propose, I guess, changing your decision making process for the foreseeable future of your life? You know, because
Okay, well, this is actually the first good portion, the first good question we're getting to.
if you just sit here and procrastinate, don't pull the trigger, like nothing's going to change.
Okay, should have been rephrased as a question. We just once again made a statement at him, because if we carry on holding on to this fear, if we carry on holding on to that belief system, then what's the outcome going to be? You're going to get him to give you that same answer, but it's going to actually land. It's going to mean something.
So just I'm just looking. So scripting. So do scripting now for the BSL. Like I've got one, but I need to change it because I know the average.
Oh, look. We started to actually have some level of an uncomfortable conversation. What's he done? He's now gone, oh, hold on a minute. Now I'm actually interested in talking about all of this logistical nonsense you were just talking about, because I don't want to have the conversation that makes me uncomfortable about my fear, about my uncertainty.
Changed. Like the follow-ups.
At this point, I would literally go, well, look, just to be completely frank with you guys, like, none of that even matters at this point. Like, genuinely, none of this even matters. Like, what's going to be more important here for the two of us moving forward is to genuinely unpack what's really been holding the business back up to this point, which, as you said there yourself, is the fact that we have had this level of indecision in our life for XYZ length of time, and it's coming from a place of scarcity, a place of fear. And for yourself, like, where is this fear actually coming from? Like, boom. What is it that you're actually afraid of? How long have we allowed that fear to hold us back? What impact has that had on us? If we carry on holding on to it, where are we going to end up? Nothing else matters in this conversation.
Yeah, launch better within 48 hours. So I'm assuming that's 48 hours after step one.
Yeah, so step one is
Look, he's just reading nonsense at this point, just to try and pivot the conversation back to just absolute jargon.
days for us is making sure all the scripting and everything's done properly. Okay, eventually, second week we'll record your videos. Okay, another 48 hours after that.
And you're just
What
buying
happens in
into
recording the
it.
video process?
Look, he's just blah 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 blah. Logistics.
Well, that's different for everybody. So, I think either for us, there will be like a document he'll send you away to get information.
Oh gosh.
Then for us, we'll do all the editing.
Oh gosh. What else is Faraz gonna do?
We're live. You know, we're now
Oh gosh.
you're able to deliver. Do you need to hire?
Last but not least, what have we said here?
Standard problems that are going to come up in every business all the time.
The nice
And the second you're not going to, the second you even if you just stay still and do exactly the same thing, the industry will change, and then one of them will go out sing.
Right. Final takeaways, final pointers. Number one, telling and making statements is never going to allow an individual to feel as though they've truly stepped into a new identity. They've truly come to the decision and the conclusion themselves, because all we're really doing is lecturing them there on what they should be doing, how they should be thinking, decisions they should be making. They're not coming to the answer themselves. So that's number one. Secondly, we're not gaining clarity and context behind any of these belief systems, fears, hesitations, identity statements that are actually being brought into the conversation for us, which usually people don't do. That's effectively making your job a lot easier. He's being very forthcoming. He's being very, very vulnerable, very open. And we're just acknowledging what he said and then moving on. We're not asking where, what, how, gaining clarity, gaining context, which we would then need in order to open them up to a potential reframe by asking them whether that belief system serves them, what it's cost them, what it will continue to cost them, whether they're going to be able to get to their goals unless they overcome it and change it. So therefore, what do we need to do going forward in order to accomplish our aims? Overcome it. Boom. There you go. We're not having any of that conversation. And what we're then falling into is the trap of causing the prospect to not feel seen, not feel heard. We're effectively having a one-way conversation in which the questions we ask are practically meaningless because the answers they give just get acknowledged. And then we ask a next question. They're being conveyor belted, as I call it. And then we're falling into the trap of being a pitch bot. Just like, bang, here's this deliverable, here's this service, this is how we'll solve this, this is the best, we're the best, we're the best, look at our testimonials, look at this, look at the amount of value I'll give you. That is not going to move the needle forward. Particularly 100% if somebody has actively told you they actually have an internal limitation holding them back up to now. Because that will continue to hold them back regardless. Doesn't matter how good your service is. That's where the focus needs to be. Have their conversation, make it present, make it about them, lean out, stop making it about the service whatsoever, because it's not about the vehicle. It's not about the car and how great it is and how good it looks. It's about the driver. I'm telling you right now, you put me in a Lamborghini Aventador, Lewis Hamilton is beating me in a fucking Mini Cooper around the track. He's beating me any day around the track.